Well, ladies and gents, after last week's action at the Circuit of the Americas, we are getting ready to go here for qualifying here at the Fontana Speedway over here in Fontana, California, the Auto Club Speedway, really, to be more specific, for the running of the Auto Club 400 tomorrow night. Hello, race fans, and good morning from here at the Auto Club Speedway. As always, I'm Elijah Leonard here with you to bring the action. Here for our qualifying sessions, we're going to be starting off, of course, with the part-time cars. 14 of them are taking to the track right now, and 2 of them are actually going to take to the track this time around. It is the number 26 of Josiah Munsell and the 51 of Ryan Gundillo. Now, one thing to point out, specifically from last week's qualifying sessions, is that the part-time cars did take to the track at COTA, and the top 6 that initially were going to be a part of the race, unfortunately, were not able to race in last week's events at the Circuit of the Americas, specifically because, unfortunately, the track I&I files could only support 36 cars instead of the traditional 42. So, do want to apologize to the part-timers, but they will be a part of this race here tomorrow night. And it's definitely going to be a pretty fun one here at the Fontana, at the California Speedway. Munsell and Gundillo both officially on the clock. There's Chase McClure in the number 52 coming out. There's Kyler Sustry in the 16. Nicky Fox was another driver that was going to race in last Saturday night's Auto Club 400, but obviously the track files did elude her from making the show. Same can be said for the other guy further in the background. That would be Bobby McGuire in the number 3 machine. He was the fastest out of all those the 6 drivers that made it into the show at COTA, and that definitely was very, very heartbreaking to find out, but they are back for this weekend, and we are ready to go for the part-timers to be a part of this race here tomorrow night, which will be broadcasted live over on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So far, to start out, top of the charts is Ryan Gundillo with a 36.666. The number of the beast right there, definitely proving to be the benefactor here for Ryan Gundillo as he's at the top of the charts. Then it's Martin Nixon sitting at second with a 36.698 to his lap to his time as of right now. And Martin Nixon has not really had too much good luck, making the races. Our Daytona 500 champion. That's the only race that he competed in this year. Unfortunately, has really slipped back when it comes down to performance and knockout qualifying to try to get into the races. He missed Rockingham, he missed Vegas, and if the part-timers did race at COTA, he didn't make the race over there. So last week, but this week he's looking to be in pretty good shape to make the show at the California Speedway. Right now sitting 3rd quickest. Then it's Bobby McGuire, who actually is 4th, looking for a little bit of redemption from last week to make the show for this week. So far, things looking pretty good here for McGuire. Same for Martin Nixon. I can also say the same thing for Josiah Munsell, whose only start came at the Daytona 500. So he's on track to definitely make his first start since Daytona this year. Well, his second start overall, I really mean to add. And then the driver on the bubble spot, that would be Chase McClure, holding on at a 7.728, with all these drivers in the 36-second bracket. Nicky Fox outside looking in by 14 one-thousandths of a second. Then it's Travis Crampton, the hometown hero, just a little bit ahead. He's also on the outside looking in by just 2/10 as of right now, a 36.951 that just got bested by 8/1000ths of a second. He was a little bit faster, but unfortunately did not quite capitalize on time wise. So obviously he's gonna have to pick it up if he wants to make the show for tomorrow night. It's Joshua Cornish. His only start this year. He only made one start, and that would be over at Rockingham, actually. I think I might be wrong, but he actually might have made Vegas as well, if I do remember correctly. So he could already have 2 starts under his belt. But for Joshua Cornish, trying to make yet another race for this year, his performance at the Rock was actually not too bad. I would have to say. I mean, maybe the results didn't quite show it, but track-wise, he actually was running pretty consistent. But here at Fontana, as of right now, he is 11th quickest with a 36.966, so things not looking too good for him. And I could also say the same thing for Ajax Fitzgerald. He also has the same time as Cornish. And then the other 2 drivers, Ray Atikian and Janiah Hill, both have 36.979s. So there's Hill. Our winner from the Wendy's Clash from the LA Coliseum has just not had herself any good luck whatsoever making these races. Unfortunately, came really close to making the Daytona 500. Unfortunately, missed out after being behind Josiah Munsell and Gabriel Wanderlei, who both made the show. And on top of that, just this is the type of performance that she's been having in qualifying, which has been very, very unfortunate. But the other time that she came really close to making a cup race was at COTA, actually. She started out actually pretty strong, but unfortunately fell back in the running order, and she hadn't been able to recover from that ever since. But maybe tonight could be the night where, well, maybe today could be the day where Hill could turn that around, but she's going to have a lot happen if that's going to be the case to recover from the 13th position. Ray Atikian in the 45, I'd definitely say is the same case for him, being 14th on the charts, also with that 36.979, as he's going to make his way back out on the racetrack. Josiah Munsell, as I mentioned, he's in pretty good shape to make the show, so long as 2 other drivers don't get better times than him to knock him out of the top 6. With 6.5 minutes remaining here in this session. So far, nothing has really changed time-wise. Ryan Gundillo still remains at the top with a 36, now 582 to his lap time. So he definitely got better than that here just a little bit ago. With Kyler Sustry still sitting in second. Martin Nixon in third. Bobby Maguire in fourth. Then Josiah Munsell fifth. And then Chase McClure completing the top 6 threshold of drivers that would make the show for tomorrow night. Then outside looking in, that would be the 32 of Nikki Fox, Travis Crampton, Michael DeFeo, and Jordan Sumner would complete the top 10, with now less than 6 minutes remaining here in this Go or Go Homers qualifying session. And there's the other 2 drivers. There's Crampton and Atikian. Atikian just made his way back out on the racetrack. And with a track like Fontana, with obviously how old the pavement is and the lack thereof of grip, but also on top of that, with how large this racetrack is, 2 miles. I mean, you could easily, I mean, you could easily use the draft to your advantage. This is does have similar characteristics to a super speedway in a way, given the fact of how massive this facility is, but also on top of that, just of how easy it is to pull up and make a draft and, you know, just draft up to somebody and, you know, potentially make some passes and make some stuff happen. But just like this right here, look at Mansell get a great run off of turn number 2, pulls right up to the back bumper of Travis Crampton, and is easily gonna go around him on the inside through turns 3 and 4. And that, I mean, just think if that were for track position right there, that would have been the pass for 8th. As Rayatikian actually is making some strides here. He just bettered his time by another lap. He bettered it by another 9 1,000ths. Now he bettered it by at least 7 100ths. He's at a 36.963 right now as he jumps up to 11th on the charts. So making a little bit of improvements here and there for Rayatikian in this number 45 machine, coming up on 3.5 minutes to go. So far, no changes yet again to bring up inside of the top 6. But you might have to keep an eye on Rayatikian here in this 45, because I'm not sure what kind of changes they could have made in the pits, but whatever it is, it's been working out for them. And they could definitely use this, and they could definitely use whatever changes that they needed in order to break into the top 6. Unfortunately, the lap that Atikian put down was just a skosh bit slower. But as of right now, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens here with about 2.5 minutes to go here in this session. It is still Ryan Gondillo, currently untouched with his 36.582 lap time. But things are looking pretty good as of right now. I mean, I would have to say, I believe if he hasn't made his first start of the year yet, Kyler Sustry will make his first start of the season officially. If I am correct here, I might be wrong, but we'll see. And then, of course, you have Martin Nixon, Bobby McGuire. Nixon would make his first start since the Daytona 500, since winning that race. And then Bobby McGuire would be making his first start since Rockingham. And it should have been at COTA, because he was the fastest. I do say this again. He was the fastest in that go or go homer qualifying session last Friday, and unfortunately missed out on it because of the track INI files saying that the track can only support up to 36 cars instead of the traditional 42. So definitely this is going to be a huge redemption arc here for Bobby McGuire in this 3 team for McGuire Enterprise as far as his end. But for Janiah Hill, nothing much has really changed here. She is 14th on the charts. The 36.979 unfortunately is the thing that is keeping her down there in that 14th position with 1 minute remaining. Martin Nixon, just as you saw there a lap ago, pulled right up to McGuire and made his move through 3 and 4 to get around him. And now he might do the same thing here to Kyler Sustry here in the 16. See what happens here, heading back into 3. And there it is. Nixon just making it look easy down there on the bottom. Going to get 2 birds with 1 stone here. Now, all those cars that you just saw in the shot with Ryan Gondillo just up ahead, those are the top 5. These are your 5 drivers that would make the show for tomorrow night is we're going to have some additional time added. So that way these drivers have have enough time to at least put down one more lap, see if it's going to count. But with only just 36 seconds that have been added, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough time. Maybe if you were down the back straightaway when that time was added, you should be good to go. But I don't think anything is going to change. So, with that being said, with 5 seconds remaining, I do believe it is safe to say that the top 6 drivers that will be moving on into tomorrow night's main event, Ryan Gundillo, the fastest out of all of them. Then it's Kyler Sustry, who will be joining him, followed by Martin Nixon making his first start since winning the Daytona 500. Bobby McGuire making his first start since Rockingham. Josiah Munsell also making his first start since Daytona. And Chase McClure will be rounding out the top 6 that will be making tomorrow night's show. Huge congratulations to those 6 drivers. And then as far as the rest of them, Nikki Fox, Travis Crampton, Michael DeFeo, Jordan Subner, Ray Atikian, Joshua Cornish, Ajax Fitzgerald, and Janiah Hill. Those drivers will have to get ready for Martinsville, I do believe, which is actually going to be a couple weeks out after this weekend. We'll be going on another break, and then we'll get back at it at Martinsville later on in April. But as far as the top 6 goes, they will be joining the field. They will be joining our full-time 36-car roster for qualifying here in just a little bit. So we're going to take a quick break and get that situated for our 3-round qualifying session. Don't go away, folks. We'll be back.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready here for qualifying here at the Auto Club Speedway for race number 5 on the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series schedule. Determining the starting lineup for tomorrow night's race, and it's definitely going to be pretty interesting as how this is all going to turn out because, you know, last week we only did 2 rounds with the top 12 from all 42 from the you know, the entire 42 car field, if I can actually spit it out, making it on to the final round. But since we are at a track like Fontana, we're doing the traditional 3 rounds where it's round 1, The fastest 24 move on to the second round, and then the fastest 12 will move on to the final round from round number 2. And those 12 in that last round will fight it out for the pole in tomorrow night's race. First car that took to the track was the number 18 of Abby Walker. Not faring too well for this season. Finds herself very low in the point standings, and Walker Family Motorsports, other than Terry Walker, had not really had themselves a good day whatsoever at COTA. Wyatt wasn't really much of a factor. Abby really wasn't much of a factor. CG Halt was hanging around the top 10, if I do remember correctly. Actually, he might have been in the back for most of that with both Abby and Wyatt Walker. But for Terry Walker, he had himself a pretty good, solid day. Ended up leading the opening portion of the events, and didn't quite fare too well after that. Actually, no, he went on to finish third, I do believe. He did finish top 5, top 10 either way. But here we are for Fontana, getting ready to go here for qualifying. First lap's already being put down, and Abby Walker goes back to the top with a 36.999, barely breaking into the 36-second bracket. Nia Steidel jumping up to second. The whole leaderboard is shuffling as Bruno De Giacomo goes up to the top, 36.875. Fitzy with an 8.16. Andrew Ramsey with an 8.08. All these drivers really just scrambling up to the top of the charts, just immediately out of the gate. But Ramsey right now is fastest to kick off this first 10-minute round. Terry Walker, I stand corrected, goes to the top with a 36.571. Cologne with a 6.33. Bonsignor is third, tied with De Giacomo with a 6. Well, actually, no. He's faster than the 95 by 10 100ths of a second, or 10 1,000ths, I should say. There's a lot of scrambling going on as Alexander Rowe goes to second with a 571. Then Caleb Rose actually showing up inside of the top, inside of the top 24 for the first time. And speaking of, actually, as all these drivers are fighting it out and just putting their laps down and really just putting it, I mean, obviously just making the leaderboard go absolutely bonkers. The driver that is now outside looking in, well, that is on the bubble spot to make round number 2 is Jerry Rose. Not anymore. That is Ryan Gundillo. Now it's Wayne Lopez. I'm telling you, man, just this leaderboard, I think this is the most that the leaderboard has shuffled pretty much all season so far. Now it's Rogel Dorn who's holding on to the bubble spot with a 36.708. Now he just got kicked out. Now it's Ryan Little on the bubble. But here is last week's winner by a very dominating 7-second advantage over Claire Phillips, who just had herself a really good points day and got herself back into the top 5. This is Valkyrie Atikian in the 23. Who wound up getting her first Pepsi Cup Series win, as well as delivering Trinity River Racing their first win in this series. Now with a little bit of momentum on her side, looking to try to definitely go back-to-back here in the Pepsi Cup Series. If I'm not mistaken, that is something that has never happened before in Pepsi Cup competition, but from the looks of things, with less than 5 minutes remaining, a 36.738, unfortunately not really the fastest to get her into the show for round number 2. So she would start 29th for tomorrow night's festivities. So far, top 12 looks like this here. Well, top 24 looks like this as we are coming up on 4 minutes to go. It is Nathan Stapleton who is at the top of the charts with a 36.539. He wound up winning here back in 2020 after a fuel mileage race. Saw him take the checker flag, so he could very well do it again here 5 years later. Chase McClure tied with Noah Clifton, both with a 36.557. 1/1000th of a second back in the 4th spot. That would be Reagan Whitlock, then Tanner Parton 5th, Alex Bonsinger 6th, Emily Anderson 7th, then Sebastian Vaughn in 8th, Aaron Abel 9th, and Terry Walker completes the top 10, followed by the 95 Bruno DiGiacomo in 11th, then Kyle Craven 12th, Russell Blaze in the 13th position, followed by Alexander Rowe 14th, then Caleb Rose 15th, Brayden Perez in the 16th position, then Stephen Colon 17th, 18th would be Claire Phillips, 19th Josiah Munsell, and Andrew Ramsey rounds out the top 20, followed by the 41 of Skylar Taylor, then CG Halt, then Abby Walker, and now Zachary Fitzwater, who holds on to the final transfer spot by at least 4/1000ths of a second over Ryan Little in the 27. But with 3 minutes to go here in round number 1 of group qualifying here for the Auto Club 400, things are definitely shaping up to be pretty interesting, if I may say. But that's another thing that we're going to look out for. As you saw top of your screen, Kyle Craven did scrape the wall coming off of turn number 4. That's another thing that we're going to be watching for, as these drivers are going to be in one tight pack to start out this race tomorrow night. Some drivers may potentially just come off the corner just a little bit too hot, and they might end up scraping the outside wall just barely, and that's going to scrub off some speed, and that may check everybody up, and it could cause a crash. Keyword could, but hasn't happened yet, so we're obviously going to have to keep really close tabs on that once the green flag drops tomorrow night. So it's definitely going to be a pretty entertaining race, if I may say, here from the Auto Club Speedway for race number 5 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. I can't wait. It's actually going to be a really good one. It's actually going to be a very, very good, solid race from here at the Fontana Speedway. 90 seconds to go. So far, Stapleton's still the fastest, and so far for Nathan Stapleton, if I may say, qualifying-wise, this is actually a really good performance, to kick off the weekend. Top of the charts with that 36.539. Zachary Fitzwater on the other end, just barely holding on by just the skin of his teeth right now over Ryan Little. Again, 4/1000ths of a second. That's how close it is between those two. But as far as Nathan Stapleton's case, the year definitely didn't get off on the right. He definitely didn't get off on the right foot here for this season. Didn't really have a good performance at Daytona nor Rockingham. Not really Vegas either. Coda, he actually did get a pretty decent performance. I think, if I do remember correctly, he wound up finishing, maybe right around top 20 if I'm not mistaken. I may have to go back and check the results here once we get ready for round number 2 of qualifying. But as for Nathan Stapleton here for this week, he is definitely ready to go here for this event, because I alluded to it, but 5 years ago, he wound up winning in a fuel mileage race. Sam Anoskin was leading at the white flag, but didn't really have the pit strategy nailed down like Nathan Stapleton did. And Stapleton, I do believe, with 4 fresh tires and a full tank of gas, just whizzed right around Oskin on the outside of turn number 2 and did not look back. Wound up going on to take the checkered flag to nab his second Pepsi Cup Series win, trying to go for win number 3, and that would put him at the all-time winningest lists at number 1 with Elijah Gordon and Emmanuel Hartnett. 30 seconds have been added for these drivers to put down one more good lap to try to make the show for round number 2. And I don't believe there's really going to be any sort of changes taking place here. So, with that said, as round 1 completes, we're going to go back and take a look at your results here for... Actually, no, times were already finalized. I wasn't paying too close of attention there. But as you can see there, there's your top 24. Stapleton, McClure, Clifton, 3 out of the 4 NS Racing cars wound up making round number 2. So that's actually really impressive here for NS Racing. Andrew Miller, unfortunately, not able to make it through, as from the looks of things, they'll be starting 35th in tomorrow night's event. And then as far as for 25th on down, that is pretty much where they're all going to be starting for tomorrow night's race from here at the Fontana Speedway. But it's definitely going to be pretty interesting. But as far as the top 24, they all move on over to round number 2. So when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have round 2 of qualifying from here at the Auto Club Speedway. So stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
And ladies and gents, we are back here at the Fontana Speedway for round number 2 of Pepsi Cup Series qualifying from here at the Auto Club Speedway. We now know our 24 fastest cars. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Wrong Wait a minute. Wrong. I stand corrected. There we go. That's actually the one I want. Well, we now know our fastest 24 cars that did wound up making the second round. Now it's time to figure out the fastest 12 that will move on to the final round for today's qualifying sessions from here at the Auto Club Speedway. Bruno Di Giacomo is going to be the first one to take to the track here for Appalachia Motorsports. See, now the thing is, for Appalachia Motorsports altogether, they have not really had the best of outings here for the 2025 season, but looking to change all that here for this weekend, hopefully to try to turn it around, and so far they have. I mean, but the small things, obviously with qualifying, they've made it to round at number 2, now trying to add the coup de grace and try to make the final round to win the pole, whether it be with one of their cars or both of their cars. So it's definitely going to be pretty interesting to see how that's all going to shake up and play out. But in the meantime, Bruno Di Giacomo is on the clock. A few other cars are now making their way out to the racetrack. There's Claire Phillips in the 5 with a runner-up finish at the Circuit of the Americas last week in Austin, Texas, with a little and a bit of momentum on her side. On top of that, climbs up to 3rd in the point standings, back inside of the top 5. So as far as for Claire Phillips, she definitely is going to definitely has got a lot of momentum on her side, and now with obviously making round number 2, who knows, she could wound up winning this weekend and taking the points lead away from whom we didn't even mention at all. New points leader, Roberto Crown Jr., who's also been performing pretty consistently throughout the year, actually been getting some really good finishes in the early stages of the season, and that is why he is your current points leader coming into this race. If I am correct here, let me actually go back and look at the points, because I'm fairly certain he is the points leader, as Phillips starts off the session at the top with a 36.993. Let's go ahead and take a look at the point standings on my Google Sheet here. All right, I guess I need an update. But this session, I mean, obviously the leaderboard is going to shuffle around here. So Mansell to the top with a 36.720. Russell Blaze a full 10th back from him. Second quickest with an 821 to his name. Now a 764 here for Claire Phillips as she jumps up to second on the board. So the driver currently on the outside looking in is Skylar Taylor to start out, but that's gonna flip-flop here as this session goes on. As you can see, there's Rose, then Bonsignor. It might be Sebastian Vaughn here in just a minute, but lots of shaking around here for that threshold spot. Sebastian Vaughn, now Bonsinger again, now it's Kyle. Actually, no, hold up. Now, yes, still Sebastian Vaughn. It's just the leaderboard ended up moving around just a little bit, so not sure why, but Sebastian Vaughn right now on the outside looking in by almost 31 thousandths. Actually, no, now it's Zachary Fitzwater. That's still changing, still moving around. But as of right now, Claire Phillips still top of the charts with a 36.666. Once again, the number of the beast playing a huge benefactor. But now, actually, I do stand corrected, by the way. It is still Zachary Fitzwater who holds the points lead by just 4 points over Roberto Crown Jr. So I actually was pretty close there as far as Crown being in the conversation when it comes down to the points battle. But obviously, Crown is not in the points lead. It is still Zachary Fitzwater, who just barely holds on to it by a pretty small margin over Roberto Crown Jr. Crown, unfortunately, didn't make this qualifying, that didn't make this round of qualifying. We didn't really bring him up at all, but he probably is going to be a factor in tomorrow night's race. So we'll just have to wait and see as far as that goes. And definitely could say the same thing for the number 98 of Zachary Fitzwater. But Fitzy right now still is now sitting top 10 on the charts. Aaron Abel outside looking in the number 43 with his 36.830, 23 one-thousandths of a second faster than Braden Perez, who's outside looking in as of right now with 4.5 minutes to go here in this qualifying session. And how about this, though? I mean, regardless of the fact here, you do have to give some credit here for Caleb Rose and Appalachia Motorsports. They may find themselves right now in the 22nd position with a 37.091, but they made it this far. So you gotta at least admire that just a little bit. Caleb Rose is one of those drivers that just has not had a good season whatsoever in the early goings. The performance on this number 59 team has just been absolutely abysmal, to say the least. And that's very unfortunate because I was really looking forward to what Appalachia Motorsports was going to do here in their first outing here in WRLA Pepsi Cup competition. And for the most part, sometimes they've had their moments under the sun, but this is definitely not one of those times. In the early stages, the results really don't speak too well for themselves. And for Caleb Rose is definitely, unfortunately, has not been much of the benefactor of any of the good runs this season. But right now, from the looks of things, he would be starting 22nd on the grid, but still a really good performance nonetheless here, qualifying wise for the 59 team of Caleb Rose for his own team, Appalachia Motorsports. Now looking to try to see if he can translate that into tomorrow night's race. Bruno Di Giacomo, same case for him, as he finds himself 11th on the charts. He's on really good track to make the final round here in just 3 minutes with a 36.819 for him. Nathan Stapleton, who was the quickest in round one, something gone awry on the number 97. He is now the second slowest with a 37.102. Almost getting squeezed up into the wall by Sebastian Vaughn, who finds himself 17th on the charts as of right now. But with 2 minutes to go, so far, actually, the only change that just took place there was Noah Clifton by going to the top of the charts, 3 one-thousandths of a second faster than Claire Phillips. That's the only change that happened, but as far as the rest of your top 12 goes, Claire Phillips second, followed by Josiah Munsell third, then Chase McClure fourth. Stephen Colon would complete your top 5. Then it's Tanner Parton in 6th, Russell Blaze in the 7th position, Kyle Craven 8th, Terry Walker 9th, Zachary Fitzwater would complete the top 10. Then it's Bruno Di Giacomo and Aaron Abel. That would be your top 12 that would go for the pole in the final round of qualifying here, which would take place here in another 90 seconds. But things are looking pretty stout here for the top 12, as there have been really no changes other than Noah Clifton going to the top of the board. Just 3 one-thousandths of a second faster, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that he has been a part with these 3 cars of Taylor, Ramsey, and Perez. All of these drivers have definitely been drafting off of one another to get some better qualifying times, and this is something that I've been alluding to during the Go or Go Homer qualifying sessions, is that this racetrack does have similar characteristics to a super speedway, obviously not only in length, but also with drafting as well, because at a place like Fontana or even Michigan, drafting is a huge thing. It's a huge thing here for, for this type of racing. You could also say the same thing for other racetracks like Pocono or even Indianapolis, for instance, since they are 2.5 miles in length. But But for Fontana and Michigan or even Daytona, Talladega, drafting is going to be a huge key factor into, making your moves and timing them just right. But you also have to balance that out with the age of this pavement, because there's really no grip in here. So you can practically run wherever you want here on this racetrack, wherever your car is going to be set up best for, whether it be the bottom, whether it be in the middle, whether it be the top. So it's definitely going to be something to watch out for here, as we're 20 seconds left in that added time. But I don't think there's really going to be any sort of changes here inside of the top 12. So I can confidently say here, as the times are going to be finalized, the top 12 that will be fighting for the pole here in round number 3. It'll be Noah Clifton, Claire Phillips, Josiah Munsell, Chase McClure, Stephen Colon, Tanner Parton, Russell Blaze, Kyle Craven, Terry Walker, Zachary Fitzwater, Bruno DiGiacomo, and Aaron Abel. All those 12 drivers will be fighting for the pole here for tomorrow night's race, and that is going to be pretty interesting, if I may say. As far as for 13th on down, that is where they're starting. Perez would start 13th. Then it would be Ramsey, Whitlock, Anderson, Vaughn, Skylar Taylor, Abby Walker, C.G. Holt, Alex Bonsignor, Caleb Rose, Nathan Stapleton, and Alexander Rowe. All those drivers would start exactly where they finished in this round of qualifying. But when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, the top 12, Clifton, Phillips, Munsell, McClure, Cologne, Parton, Blaze, Craven, Walker, Fitzwater, DiGiacomo, and Abel will all fight for the pole here for tomorrow night's Auto Club 400. Don't go away, folks. Round 3 is next.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free, because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale, because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to find out who will be the driver that will be starting on the pole here for tomorrow night's Auto Club 400. We now know the Fast 12. Now let's see who's going to be the fastest out of all of them to win the pole for the Auto Club 400. Terry Walker takes to the track first. 9.5 minutes remaining here in this session, as 30 seconds have already been shaved off. Other drivers are looking to join him. That would be Claire Phillips in the 5. She's the second driver to take to the track. There's Josiah Munsell getting ready to go as he exits his pit stall and takes to the track. But as far as for this session goes, I mean, this is all where all the marbles are at. This is where you're going to throw down your marbles and go for broke here in this qualifying session here for round number 3, as the top 12 are going to fight it out here for the pole position. Terry Walker, obviously first driver on the track. And we'll see exactly what his time is going to be here in just a few seconds. But Terry Walker had himself a really good performance at COTA last week. The only Walker Family Motorsports driver that actually had a pretty good performance. Unfortunately, can't really say the same thing for his teammates of Abby and Wyatt Walker, along with CG Holt, as they've been kind of marred in the back pretty much the entire day. But as far as for Terry Walker, looking to try to still get his first Pepsi Cup Series win for Walker Family Motorsports. Claire Phillips to the top with a 37.59, 7 1,000ths of a second faster than Terry Walker to start out. But we'll see just exactly what the rest of the times are going to look like as this session goes on. 36.879 for Terry Walker, as these drivers are getting more and more up to speed. Those times are going to go, the leaderboard is just going to go absolutely bonkers for just a minute, and then it's all going to pretty much settle down, and then we'll know exactly who will start on pole for tomorrow night's Auto Club 400 here for race number 5 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. Claire Phillips, so actually not anymore. I was going to say Phillips was at the top with a 820. But Terry Walker goes back to the top. Actually, wait a minute. Tanner Parton to the top with a 36.671, drafting off of Kyle Craven, who now is 4th on the board with a 36.906 to his name. How about that? Tanner Parton trying to look for his second Pepsi Cup Series win to his career. He won at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park back in 2023. Now with the pole win, if he does win the pole, he already would have accomplished one thing on his bucket list, become a pole sitter here for 2025, but also one step closer to possibly getting his second Pepsi Cup win. We'll just have to figure that out here for once we wave the green flag for tomorrow. But Fitzy jumps up to second, 9 1,000ths of a second. Slower, though, than Parton, but still pretty good time here for 36.680 for our points leader. Claire Phillips 4th on the board with a 7.43 to her name. Stephen Colon jumps to the top with a 36.592. Our winner from Rockingham is actually in pretty good shape to win the pole. And for Kyle Craven, he'd start alongside with a 6.65 to his name. So Stephen Colon already trying to not only win, obviously not only to trying to go for his second win on the year, but also trying to go for his first pole of 2025. With 5 minutes remaining, it could very well happen. We're just going to have to keep our eyes open on the leaderboard, just in case if there's anything that does change in the running order. But as of right now, it is still Stephen Colon, top of the charts. That time has remained absolutely untouched. You see Zachary Fitzwater aborting, coming to pit road in the number 98 machine. Going to try to see if he can make some changes to that car, so that way he can actually hopefully can get a little bit more speed out of the 98. There's Aaron Abel in the 43. The last couple of weeks for Aaron Abel haven't really been all that great. Wound up crashing out at Las Vegas, ended up getting turned, ironically enough, off the bumper of Stephen Colon into the inside wall, where he lost control of his car, slid up into turn number 3, pancaked the passenger side of his car, and then just got absolutely pile driven in by multiple drivers. And for the 43 of Aaron Abel, I mean, obviously we were going to try to turn that around at Coda, but unfortunately ended up getting turned around on lap 1 of all times and just hasn't really been able to recover since then. But for Aaron Abel this weekend, right now sitting 10th on the charts, en route here for a 10th place starting spot. This would actually be a pretty good confidence booster here for Racing Motorsports and also Aaron Abel, who is the team owner in that number 43 camp. 3 minutes remaining. Right now, your top 10 goes as follows. Obviously, Stephen Colon still at the top with a 592 to his name. Then Craven in second. Tanner Parton third with a 671. Then Russell Blaze in the fourth spot with a 674. Zachary Fitzwater fifth with a 680. With a 731, that would be Terry Walker in the sixth spot. Then with a 743, that would be Claire Phillips sitting in the 7th spot. Noah Clifton 8th with a 896 to his name. Then 9th, Josiah Munsell with a 903. And Aaron Abel 10th with a 920. There's Noah Clifton, who has shown a lot of speed here in qualifying as of recent. You know, at Vegas, wound up starting top 5. Same could be said for Coda. And now here he is here in the final round here for qualifying for the 3rd week in a row here at the Auto Club Speedway. It has actually been a pretty good, I'd say a pretty good few weeks here for Noah Clifton. Still trying to get his 3rd Pepsi Cup Series win to his career. Wound up winning at Rockingham back in 2020. Then signed on with NS Racing after jumping ship from Swiss Auto Motorsports. Back from 2020. Joined NS Racing in 2023. Won on the dirt at Bristol. And from then on, Clifton has actually been performing pretty consistently. But other than that, still has yet to get his 3rd Pepsi Cup Series win. If he's able to do that, he obviously would join Elijah Gordon and Emmanuel Hartnett as the most winningest drivers in WRLA history. And who knows, if this series does go on for longer, obviously that most winningest drivers bracket could still be bested. It could still very, very well be bested, but we're just going to have to find that out as the time does go on. With 1 minute remaining, Stephen Colon looks to be in pretty good shape to cruise on to his first pole of 2025. Our winner from Rockingham, definitely with a good amount of momentum on his side. Now actually having an opportunity to capitalize on that by winning his first pole of the year and possibly of his career, if I'm not mistaken. Wound up joining the series in 2020 when he drove for a different Walker Family Motorsports before the Walker Family Motorsports that we know came into WRLA. After Wyatt Walker himself ended up acquiring ownership of that team and pretty much rebranded it to where it actually was Walker Family Motorsports. But since then, Stephen Colon went on to form his own team for Colon Motorsports. And now, it's pretty much official at this rate. Stephen Colon in the number 25 will lead the field to the green flag in tomorrow night's Auto Club 400 from here at the Auto Club Speedway. Kyle Craven will line up alongside. Then in row 2, it will be Tanner Parton and Russell Blaze. Row 3, Zachary Fitzwater and Terry Walker. Row 4, Claire Phillips and Noah Clifton. In row number 5 will be Josiah Munsell and the number 43 of Aaron Abel. That will be your top 10 starting in tomorrow night's race. And then for Bruno De Giacomo and Chase McClure, they'll be lining up in row number 6. But definitely, this has been a very fun time here for qualifying here at the Auto Club Speedway. Huge congratulations to the number 25 of Stephen Colon for nabbing his first pole of the season. And it is going to be a pretty fun one here from the Auto Club Speedway, as he'll be leading the field down to the turn 1 at nearing speeds of almost 200 miles an hour. But the racing tomorrow is also going to be pretty interesting. Again, we saw some similar racing at Las Vegas just a couple of weeks ago, and we could very well see a similar style of racing for here at Fontana coming up here tomorrow night, which will be broadcasted live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Twitch, and then the full race premiere will drop on the next day on right here on this YouTube channel. So thank you guys a lot for watching qualifying here from here at the Auto Club Speedway. If you guys like this, be sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't considered subscribing yet, recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. One more time, congratulations to Stephen Colon on winning the pole for the Auto Club 400. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you all tomorrow night for race number 5 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series.